Greetings from Cameroon. Question number one. Please tell us about yourself. What are your interests and hobby? I am Wanti Blaise Kumfa, a chemistry teacher in GBHS Bailey. I read chemistry in the Higher Teachers Training College of the University of Bamenda. I've been teaching chemistry for 7 years now. My hobbies and my interests are I love playing soccer. I love watching documentary. I love swimming. I love traveling. And above all, I love teaching chemistry. I'm so passionate about my subject. Question number two. Are you involved in extracurricular activities that you could coach or supervise? Presently in my institution, I'm a co-head of the science club. I'm also the assistant captain of our soccer team back in the quarter. Question number three. Why did you decide to become a teacher for the subject for which you are applying for? Chemistry is a science of substance. I decided to teach chemistry because I believe chemistry is essential to meet our basic needs of food, shelter, energy, clean soil, and water. Question number four. Are you currently employed as a chemist? Are you currently employed as a teacher? Yes, I'm presently working as a chemistry teacher in GBHS Bailey, but I'll be looking forward for more professional and developmental opportunities in South Carolina. Question number five. How many hours per day do you teach and how many days per week? I teach 4 hours per day, 5 days per week. Question number six. Describe your teaching experience. What subject have you taught and at what grade level? I've been teaching chemistry since 2014. In my first institution, I taught Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, chemistry and mathematics. In my present institution, I am teaching Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, and Form 5 in the Cameroon context. I'm teaching them chemistry. Question number seven. Describe the other work experience you have had beside teaching. In my previous institution, I was the acting head of Department of Chemistry and Mathematics. In my present institution, I have once assisted my HOD who was on extended maternity leave for 6 months. Question number 8. Have you ever worked in the United States? If so, when, where, and why? I've never worked in the United States of America before. Question number 9. Do you hope to be doing what do you hope to be doing professionally 5 years from now? I love teaching chemistry. 5 years from now, I see myself as a role model to my student. 5 years from now, I see myself somebody that's increased in his profession and in his skills. 5 years from now, I'll keep on teaching chemistry. Number 10. What if I were to talk to several of your colleagues? How would they describe your personality? My colleague will tell you Mr. Wanti is somebody that collaborates with colleague and administrator. Mr. Wanti is somebody that has that sense of professionalism and organizational skills. Mr. Wanti is somebody that easily adapts to work with pressure. Mr. Wanti is somebody that easily accepts to volunteer when needs arise. Question number 11. What would your students say about you? Mr. Wanti is the type of person which each and every student opinion count in class. Mr. Wanti is the type of person that make the class atmosphere to be so loving. He has that communal spirit in him. Mr. Wanti is warm, accessible, and caring to the students. Question number 12. How do you prepare to teach your lesson? The human mind understands and retains things better when taught in a practical manner. When preparing for my lesson, I do a lot of research from textbooks and over the internet. I put information on one side. I try to relate every I try to relate every concept with a practical aspect of its application so that my student will be able to relate and understand them better. Question number 13. How would your lesson plan include? What would your lesson plan include? I incorporate different learning strategies in my class, such as cooperative learning, group work instruction, and classmate work. I believe students have different learning strategies. I try to incorporate all the different learning strategies so that to meet the individual needs of the students. Question number 14. Think about a class which you have taught recently. Talk about two of the teaching strategies or method that you use. When I was teaching a Form 2 class on the topic separation of mixtures, I had to bring in local materials in class. For instance, the separation of iron filings from sand. I had to bring in sand, iron filing, and with a bar magnet. I had to divide my class into groups. We had to discuss the properties of sand, the properties of iron filings, and the various properties of magnets. The student had to do hand-on experience mixing the sand and the iron filings together to produce the mixture, and then use the bar magnet to stir the mixture, stirring the mixture so that the iron filings will be separated from the sand and be attracted to the magnet. Also, another method of teaching that I use is role playing. For instance, when I was teaching bonding, ionic bonding, that's the transfer of electrons from a metal to a non-metal. Students had to play the role of electrons. An atom is made up of shells, and within those shells you have electrons. I had to form circles on the floor, and then students had to stand on those circles to represent electrons. And then during the ionic bonding, when the electrons move from the metal to the non-metal, students had to be displaced from the shell of the atom to the metal to moving to the non-metal. So then students had to play that role of electron moving from the metal to the non-metal. Question number 15. What method do you use to grade or evaluate your student's progress? I use student assignment, I use quiz, I use tests, and I use exams that are collected at the end of the term. I also use informal observation, that is collecting data on notes, checklists. I also use multiple test format, that is multiple choice, long-term answer, short-term answer, diagram, chart, and fill in the blank. Question number 16. If you use technology in your teaching, describe how you use it. Specifically, discuss your experience using a smartboard and ways that you could incorporate it into your lesson. In my lesson, I often use educative videos and audios. During the lesson, I play educative videos or audios for students to listen and watch the videos. After that, I pose questions related to the video in accordance with the topic that we are supposed to cover to bring out the cognitive reasoning in the student. And then at the end of the day, we discussed and I clarified each and every student doubt, and I explained this topic over and over for the better understanding of the student. Honestly speaking, I've never used a smart chart before, but I'll be looking forward to have the opportunity to use it. Question number 17. If you have students who are noisy or non-attentive, share with us two ways you get them to be quiet and concentrate. If I have students that are noisy in my class, or if a student is making noise while lecturing without stopping, I make sure I move closer to the student. If the student keep on talking, I move closer to the student and even stand by the student. If the student does not still realize he or herself, I make sure I touch the student at the shoulder without stopping my explanation of the lectures, or I may not even move closer to the student. I may still stand where I'm delivering my lecture and pose a question and direct it to the disruptive student in class, to the student that is stepping in class. In that sense, the student would stop making noise and all the other students will concentrate and listen to the lesson that is going on. Question number 18. Describe the most difficult problem you have had to deal with as a teacher and how did you solve this problem? This happened in my second year in my present institution. That was after the second sequence we evaluated. I was teaching a class for a colleague who was on extended maternity leave. She had already evaluated the student. A community parent walked up to me and asked me to change the grade of her child. I carefully explained to the parent how grade and progresses are being calculated and recorded in our institution. The lady was not still satisfied. I decided to give extra credit work for the student to see whether the student can catch up and make up a better grade. I gave that extra work credit. The student could not still make it. The woman was not still satisfied about the grade of her student. I sensitively explained to her what the student can do to make a progress. After discussing with some colleagues, I proposed that the lady should take the child home. They go and prepare and come the next day for a catch-up test. I had to give out some questions related to the topic that I've covered before the sequence for the child to go and revise them at home. When they went home, the next day when they came back, after my school program was over, I had to program an extra one class to explain the concept related to the topics that I've covered and then try to answer some of the few questions with the student and then discover where the student is wanting. I did the explanation and then I re-evaluated the student using multiple test format, that is multiple choice, long answer, short answer, diagram, chart, and fill in the blanks. After re-evaluating the child scored excellent and improved on her grades. Question number 19. Give one example to show that you are a flexible person and that you can make changes to your teaching and method if that is necessary. When I was teaching my Form 3 students on the topic bonding, students mostly have difficulties in understanding the concept of bonding. When I was teaching covalent bonding, which we all know covalent bonding is when two atoms, non-metals, come together and share electrons to form a strong bond, electrostatic bond of attraction. When I was teaching that topic, I created a scenario. I told the student that during break, your friend come with bread and then you come with chocolate. All of you guys are hungry. The satisfaction that you guys are supposed to derive, will consider that word an uptake structure because atom do bond to form an uptake structure or a noble gas configuration. Okay, let's say student A come with bread, student B come with chocolate. You both combine the bread and chocolate together. You both eat. The satisfaction that student A will derive will be the uptake structure. Satisfaction that student B will derive will be the uptake structure. And then to differentiate that covalent bonding from dative covalent bonding, because we all know that in dative covalent bonding is one of the participating atom that donate the lone pair of electron. So in this case, student A now comes with bread and chocolate, and then student B don't have anything to eat during break. Student A now will share the bread and chocolate with student B. At the end of the day, all of them will eat and be satisfied. The satisfaction that all of them will have will be what? Will be that optic structure that both of them now will have. Question number 20. Is there anything that you would like to add to your qualification that we may not be aware of? I'm also a holder of a bachelor degree in Science of Education. I also of the University of Bamenda. I also hold a bachelor degree in Mining Engineering from the University of Jam. Question number 21. Have you spoken to your family about going to the United States to teach? Is there anything such as a family member that might object you are leaving home? Are you aware your family may not join you here until approximately 4 to 6 weeks after your arrival? I'm very much aware that my family may not join me in until 4 or 6 months of my arrival. I've discussed with my family member. Everybody is so happy for the opportunity for me to go and teach in America. Question number 22. Do you understand and accept that FACES is a 5-year program, and after 5 years, you must return to your home country? Do you agree to this? I will accept and agree to this, that after 5 years, I'll need to return to my home country.